So let's go ahead and get started. So my name is Tasha Penwell, and so I have two businesses. My background is I worked about 8 years in higher ed, and I left that in last year. And I have two businesses that I manage and do now. One is pretty nerdy digital marketing, and the other one is Bites and Bits. So the reason for I have both of them is because my interest is in both in regards to digital marketing and specifically in more of the higher level like AI and AR, SEO, analytics. And then Bites and Bits is because I'm a big believer in education and the benefits and the things that can come from education. And one of my goals with Bites and Bits is to help promote computer science education in rural areas. I'm also an AWS solutions architect and AWS authorized instructor. And I'll be sharing at the end of our session today why I'm, letting you know about that. Just as a curiosity, and you can put in the chat or feel free to come off mute. Does anybody know what AWS or Amazon Web Services is? Let's see. Sort of. Okay. It's cloud computing. Okay, that's fine. It's cloud computing. I've heard of it. So you may have heard of it for
Yes,
like,
I've had it.
what is it?
I've had it
Okay, I'm
or
sorry.
used it.
You've already used it?
Yeah,
Okay, what do you use it for?
email.
Uh, yeah. And you may have seen like the advertisement if you watch the NFL. You've probably seen Stat That. Like that's a really popular service that you'll see advertised a lot on during the football games.
Yeah.
But it's a cloud computing service. And if you use Netflix, you're on the cloud. I mean, it's just everything that's in the cloud anymore. And there's some AI and machine learning tools in the cloud that we'll be discussing just at a very high level. Just be aware that those are some services that exist. Okay. And let me get back in here. All right. So the objectives that we have for today is to understand the relationship between AI and machine learning. It's just one slide. We're not going to go in depth on it. But mainly our focus is how AI can be used to save time and how it can be used to supplement your learning and how AI can be used in your business, which is the bulk of why everybody is here today. And because I don't know everybody's demographics and backgrounds, I thought this would be a good way for me to kind of get a feel or take a pulse, so to speak, of what everybody's thoughts are in AI right now. So in the chat, share a single word or phrase that comes to your mind whenever you're thinking of AI in your business. Time saver. Very much. Mhm. Yes. Yes. All of those things. There's a lot of different variations. Yes. Uh, it's fast. It's time saver. I've seen a lot of the time saver. Yes. Yeah. So looks like it. Look, these are all positive words. So that's a good thing. Because sometimes AI can have, there's a preconceived notion that it's going to take over your business or it's going to take your place, and that's not the case. A lot of you guys are saying that um, the a lot of you guys are saying like the time saver, all of those things. Because sometimes you need a starting point. You get writer's block if you're trying to write a blog and you're not sure where to start. That's what I use a lot of it for. Is it plagiarism? No, it's interesting if you get into the details of how AI and machine learning work. Um, which we're not going to get in necessarily into the details of right now, but it's not necessarily plagiarism because I've used blog content created, started by ChatGPT, and I've run it through a plagiarism checker, and it didn't come up with any flags. And the other thing to point out is what that AI is meant to be a starting point. It's meant to give you something, a baseline, and then you can edit it. You can add links. You can customize it for your business. You personalize it. Um, I would almost compare it to, I'm going to show my age a bit, but does anybody remember having to go to the library and having to get inside, if you were doing a report for school, having to pull encyclopedias and periodicals and the Dewey Decimal System? Does anybody remember that? Uh, yes. uh, so, and then whenever, the internet and search engine optimization and Google and those types of tools came about, then we didn't necessarily have to do that, as much. I remember my son, who's 24 now, and whenever he was in high school, he was, trying to do research for a report, and he went and Google something, and he came up with a bunch of different options because that's what Google does. And he's like, "Well, which one do I choose?" And I was like, "Well, you click on a link and you read it and you figure out that's what you need. And if not, you go back." He's like, "I got to click through them all." And I'm like, "Son, I went through encyclopedias and periodicals and getting books and researching manually without a control F or command F. I don't want to hear you complaining about Google." But so what AI is doing is like taking what Google did for us back then and is taking it to the next level. Google was like, it helped us replace having to go to the library. And AI in some senses is kind of replacing what we use Google for. So, but these are all mostly positive, so it's good. It's good. Uh, So AI and machine learning. So basically, machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. You'll see those terms used interchangeably, but they are distinct from each other. And basically, the goal of AI is to create systems that can perform tasks that typically requires human intelligence. It uses things like natural language understanding. So something like you speak to text. Alexa is a good example of natural language understanding. It recognizes patterns, it makes decisions and problem solving. And that's what AI can do. And it helps offset the tedious so that we as business owners can focus on things that's going to provide better business value. Okay, let's see. ML is machine learning. It's what helps train artificial intelligence to do the things that it does. It takes large amounts of data set for the training, and it takes a lot of time, but it helps provide the training to helps make AI as intelligent as it is. Uh, So before we transition, start talking about these specific AI services, some couple things just to think about whenever, because AI has a little bit of controversy to it. Change is a process that which the future invades our lives, and it is important to look at it as an opportunity rather than a threat. And then kind of go into that from Tony Robbins: is change is inevitable, progress is optional. Um, I liken these two new technologies to like in the older days before my time, where it had secretarial pools and they all used typewriters. Eventually, that changed over to word processing equipment, and PCs and all of those things. And now we have, our phones and everything else. So it's not necessarily going to replace anything, but it makes it better and it makes things more efficient, which as small business owners, we need efficient. We need, time is money, money is time, right? That's just the reality of it. Uh, uh, so some specific technologies that we're going to be covering today. The way I have things set up today is it's going to be a combination of screenshots and pre-recordings. And there's also a Linktree link. I'll talk about that here in just a second before we progress any further because it has the slides. Um, and just take a minute while I grab the Linktree link. Does any of these look familiar to anybody? Has anybody used these tools before? They got some Canva. Uh, Lots of them good. ChatGPT is it's not as it's different. because it's as good as the information that's in it, and it's not always updated depending on, again, what version you're using, the free or the paid. But we'll talk about them all. Uh, uh, so here is the Linktree link. I just put it in the chat. Uh, so that has the slides. I only use the free for ChatGPT. I haven't seen the need to upgrade to the paid. I mean, that's as of now. That's always subject to change. SEMrush is one of the tools that I use right now, and I used to use, like for Maria, SEMrush. I used to just use the free, but I found enough value in SEMrush to upgrade to the paid. So I put the Linktree link here in the chat, and just as an FYI, these are the presentation slides that I'll be going over today. I have recordings on the tools that we'll be using, just because time and technology and live presentation, you never know what you're going to get. And then there is a something I just learned this morning while I was watching a webinar, Google's new AI search engine. I just learned about this webinar, and there's a link to that if anybody's interested in that. And then I have a link for contact me if there's questions down there. All right. Let's see. You're welcome. Which is my choice for Joy? I'm not sure which one. What was the question? What is my choice for what? Yes, and let's see. So I saw somebody put something in about ChatGPT being the paid and update it. Because basically, the way AI tools, as we talked about earlier, it uses machine learning. And machine learning uses data sets and helps train it. And, it's only as good as it's trained. Innately, computers are dumb. And innately, yeah, that's just the reality of it. And it takes, programming, or takes training, if we're talking about AI, for it to, be as smart as we expect it to be. So choice of all the links, it really depends. If I'm doing SEO or digital marketing or blogging or anything like that, it's SEMrush, ChatGPT, TikTok effects, and Canva. And I use Loom for that, and I also use it for teaching. Also, like Tidio, I use all of these, pretty much all of these. It just really depends on what hat I'm wearing at the time. Yes. The only one that I've not used in depth is the recognition, but it's really cool, and I've just not had a use case for it. I didn't see anybody put Tidio. Does anybody use Tidio on their websites currently? You're welcome. So Tidio is basically, it's a chat bot that you can put on your website. Now, chat bots, I used to not really be so much a fan, but they are getting better. And the reason that they are getting better is in partly because of AI. It's getting smarter. So Tidio, you can have there's a free version and there's a paid version, like most things. And you can embed it fairly easily on your website. Like with SEMrush, it just takes it's a plugin. And somebody asked if they leave, if they can get in, then they should be able to, as far as I know. Yeah. The SEMrush and ChatGPT, they tend to be they're my main go-to. They're not always the only resources, but they're my main go-to, just because I've been happy with them. But so chatbots, I kind of, like somebody said, KL said, agent please on chatbot directly. I agree. I used to be a lot like that. It's like, I want to talk to a person. But it has gotten better. Like Flywheel, does anybody use Flywheel? It's for hosting, website hosting. They have a really great chatbot system. So that inspired me to actually maybe be a little bit more active in putting my own chatbots together, for my own websites, because it does help offset, um, just having to, work with customers and potential clients and not making them wait for you to respond to something. So the way Tidio works is, like I said, it's a chat bot, and if you're on a WordPress website, it's as simple as a plugin, and it works with a multiple other sites, as well. And if you're doing straight HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, there's code in there as well. It works for pretty much all platforms. So, like I said earlier, I decided to start actually using chatbots on my websites, and I have two. So I've upgraded one, to being like a paid version of Tadio, and then I still have my other website. I'm just having the free one because it just makes best sense for me. But what's nice about Tadio is, like, once you get it connected, you have a dashboard here, and it gives you some insights, leads, chat bots, the visitors on your page right now. You can see, that live interaction. So Google Analytics also does this. Does anybody work with Google Analytics any? Uh, I like Flywheel. I really like Flywheel, like their customer service, and I like them. If you're familiar with AWS, Lightsail is a really good platform for WordPress. Uh, so Google Analytics is great. It give you some of these insights as well, but it's a little cumbersome just to try to find the data. It's just there's so much to it, and I really like the feel of these dashboards. So this is, yeah, Google Analytics still exists. It's GA4 now. So there's this dashboard, and it gives you information about your website, and you can configure it. And I don't know the correct way of pronouncing this. It's Lyro or Lero. I don't know, but it is the AI tool within Tidio. And what's really nice about this is, like, you can put in questions, like somebody might ask, and it'll automatically put it in, it'll respond to it. It has the AI component, it will automatically respond to questions. And the way it does that, you can give it a couple different tools. You can give it to a link to a web page, like maybe a frequently asked questions that you already have on your website, and just give it that link. You can manually type in the questions, and there's a third option. Can't remember exactly what it was, but it's basically what it's doing is, a chat bot, if somebody goes and asks a question, it will search through that web page, or your pre-configured, like what you manually put in, and it will respond to that. So what's nice about this, you don't have to think of every potential scenario and having to, figure out a potential response. And it does it in a way that it almost seems human like you're actually talking to a person. And that's kind of how Flywheel is, in my experience. Is why I kind of like, maybe I need to give chatbots another look at, because at first I was thinking, I don't like using them, I don't want them on my website. But if they're done well, they are actually a really good tool. A Flywheel helps in designing. No, I just use Flywheel for WordPress hosting. And then you have chatbot. So this is just like a basic chatbot, and you can see in this screenshot, that you can actually use templates that can generate leads, increase sales. Just depends on what your business is. And then email marketing. Does anybody do any kind of email marketing? I need to. It's not something that honestly have had time to do a whole lot yet. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So this is something, the way my businesses work, it has, the way I describe it to my sons, feast or famine. Does anybody familiar with that? Small business, it's either feast or famine. you know, it's like sometimes I have a lot of work and sometimes it's not a whole lot. So, it depends. It's something I need to be more proactive. My teaching side of things has been has kept me busy, but it's also feast or famine. Sometimes I have a lot of contracts and sometimes not so much. So I'm trying to be more proactive in actually promotion, because like to have a little bit like steady meals every day of the week. um, so I've been need to focus more on email marketing. So this is a really great tool that'll help offset some of the mundane, tedious tasks. Like sometimes we just get overwhelmed when it comes to it's like I have to think of all of these things, I have to design something, have to do this, and it can help offset that. So visitors on the site at the moment, it was just something I took a screenshot of. And it integrates with other tools as well, Google Analytics and MailChimp. I see that in the bottom. I saw somebody post something about MailChimp. And you can see the different categories on the left-hand side, depending, again, what your business is and what you do. There's a lot of different things that you can do with it. So TDO, like I said, what got me thinking about giving chatbots a second look was my experience with Flywheel. It was a good one. So that made me like, okay, maybe I need to actually, not just write chatbots off because they're an annoying tool. And there's also on the other side of that, there's an accessibility factor. Um, so I'm hearing impaired, like I said, and sometimes it's difficult to talk to a person, on the phone, and you want to be able to. Uh, this is Tidio. So sometimes a chatbot can help with accessibility. Let's see, everyone meeting. There's you want to kind of think about everybody in there, and accessibility is a big one for me. It's something that I kind of preach about a little bit. But anyways, let's see. I'm trying to move my scroll a little bit. Can we compare the results of manual versus um I have not tried that in Tidio, but we probably could. There's probably reports in there that can help with that. Uh, their settings is basically how it would, how you want it to look. And the just kind of sum it up, it's tidio.com. It's super easy to get started, and there's a free version that does pretty well. Yeah. Integrates easily with a variety of website platforms. I use WordPress, and it's just basically a plugin, but there's a long list of other ones. Lero is really awesome, and this is what actually made me upgrade to the one for the paid account that I did for one of my websites, is because I just really liked the fact that I can just put a web page in there and it'll answer a question based off that instead of me having to customize something with the chatbots. And there is a freemium service. You can get started for free and just kind of figure out if you like it or not. Yes. So I don't know if I grabbed a screenshot, but when it comes to the configure, Rachel, there is a handoff. So I just put no transfer to operator, but you can transfer to operators if necessary. Does that answer your question? Uh, let's see. Uh, you're online. Yes. So what I'm not showing here is like what I didn't grab a screenshot of it is like the different kinds of nodes. Like you can draw a diagram of how it proceeds in the configuration. The playground area is what it's no, it's one of these configurations. But basically, it's you draw little nodes, and you while somebody is online, you can have a transfer to an operator. Uh, it says when operators are offline. So I've not tried this, but it says when operators are online and when operators are offline. Best to have a website design and logo design. The best, we'll be talking about, I'll try to, if we have time, I'll be showing about a website design builder. It's an AI tool in the logo design. Well, there's a couple of them that we'll talk about today. Okay. Oh, uh, uh, Boom, 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 boom. All right. SEMrush. So SEMrush, I saw some of you guys use SEMrush. I love SEMrush. I started with the free one and then I upgraded to, I think it's called Guru package or something. Some of this I have some pre-recording videos. So we're going to talk about a couple of them. It's going to be pre-recordings just because, like I said earlier, you never know how live demos actually, how we're doing on time. Let me see if I can get into it, and if not, then we'll watch the video. Uh, boom, 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 boom. I'm not going to be able to get into it right now, but we're going to watch the video. And if you have any questions, just put it in the chat, and I'll address those. Hello and welcome to SEMrush. So I am in a free account with SEMrush, so everything that I see you should be able to see and start experimenting with prior to having to invest any kind of money into it. This is a really great tool. I do have the paid account, and it's a lot of great features in it. But let's just go ahead and look at, we go to content marketing, as you can see, and this is called the SEMrush dashboard. And let's go to content marketing, and we're going to select content shake AI. And let's see. So in this session, this workshop, I'm doing a lot of references to not Pretty Dirty Digital Marketing, but my other business of Bytes and Bits, which offers educational resources and computer science workshops. So let's see how to get more teenagers interested in computer science. So something like that. So what you can see it's going to do here is analyze competitors' content. Okay. And it will, as you can see, write this for you. And even I grab some images and we'll cite them. So Unsplash is don't worry about copywriting. Okay. So here, so this is the thing. Okay, AI will give you a great starting point, and you can see it's still just creating. And what you still need to do, or what you may hire an outside source to do, is to make it customized to you. So partner with local organizations. So I was talking about, mine with Bytes and Bits. This is a great way that I can incorporate something about Bytes and Bits in the computer science workshops that we host. And then I haven't read this whole thing, obviously, but what you would need to do, you take this into, and then you can publish it. Now for the integration, then you do need to upgrade, but you can just easily copy and paste it in whatever your blogging platform is, whether it be WordPress, Wix, or just something not website related, such as Medium, LinkedIn, etc. But so what you would still need to do and is go in and figure out how to make this customizable to you. So as I said earlier, just without reading this, just partnering with a local organization, that stands out to me. The fact that it's like, hey, I can put a blurb in about Bytes and Bits. And then you can also see it even has some resources to help with, if you want to rephrase something. Again, I've not read this really, so I'm not going to make any changes to it right now. And then you also want to think about backlinks. How can you collaborate with partnering organizations, whether it be local to you or maybe not local to you. Just depends on what your market is and who you are and what your business is. But what the next steps after this is you read it, you make some changes so that it's customized to your organization, utilize backlinks, and maybe even take this and add a YouTube video. If there's other content that you've already created, you can reuse that content. So many different ways that you can use this. And then you would just, share it as you usually do with the blog story. And this took minutes. And you might want to spend another, hour maybe to, customize it so it fits your needs. See if you got any other content that you can kind of reuse. It's, depending on what you already have created and, how, custom you are to doing this, it shouldn't take any more than an hour to do. But if I was going to write this from scratch, um, it would take more than an hour. Let's just put it that way. Just come up with the idea, trying to figure out what to put in there. And this is what I love about AI. It provides good, fantastic information, but it allows me as a small business owner to offset some of, it's a needed task, but sometimes it's a mundane task, to an application such as this, and then I could just tweak it and make it mine. And I can spend my time doing things that provide better business value as opposed to things that are necessary to provide business value. But if I can offset it, then it just allows me to better, address other areas and other needs. So that's going to wrap up this video. As you can see, I'm using everything for free, and as you probably also saw, there's limits coming up. Uh, I'm gonna kind of hit and miss on some of these, but uh, the integrity in the information gathered from, it depends on your industry, depends on what it is. Some things that, if you're in healthcare, if you're in banking, finance, some things you have more, you got to really cross those T's and dot those I's. On other things, it's just from your personal knowledge and, any kind of additional research that you may have done. All right. But I think this is a recording, and their Linktree link has the links to the slides and the videos that you see here. So as for those who've used SEMrush before, have you used Content Shake? Mhm. Anybody familiar with that? The Content Shake, if anybody, I saw some, let's see. So what I like about Content Shake is like you need to write about a topic, but you're not quite sure what to write. Like you're kind of like you're all out of ideas. And this can be a big game changer. So let's see. Um get out of this. There we go. So SEO writing assistant. Uh, SEO writing assistant. So this is another. Hello. I'm going to fast forward on this one a little bit, but this is another tool that can be used, and this is I use if I've already kind of have some content. So this one, what you're going to see me do, if you're not familiar with the tool, if you have content, like you already wrote a blog, and you just need to go through it and to vet it and kind of make sure it works for what it needs to be, this is the tool that can also help with that. So Content Shake is like, I need an idea. I have an idea. I need something to write. SEO Writing Assistant is an AI tool that can help with just kind of vetting through what you've already written. So this is what this is going to show. There we go. All right. No, I'm still in the free one. Let's go ahead and see what allows me to do with the free account. Get recommendations. Oh, okay. Using. So my thing with chatbots and AI tools, one of the things personally is for accessibility. Using chatbots for accessibility. Chatbots accessibility, something like that. Get recommendations. Okay, so it's preparing recommendations. And one of the things that you'll see, it's going to give you some suggestions. Now, just because it's suggestions does not mean you need to accept all the suggestions. Sometimes it is what it is, and it's fine. So this is giving me a rating of mediocre. consider writing some more text. So my blogs tend to be a little short. Don't think that's necessarily a bad thing with today's attention span, but it does vary upon your audience. No headline yet. Nope, it didn't capture that headline. So and I can just make this a heading one so that it captures that. So it's improving my readability a little bit because it's got a headline now. Let's see, target keywords. And it's giving me some recommended keywords. So to check my links, I have to be paid. So that's a feature. I'm not using my paid account. Add alt images is always a best practice. Let's see. So my readability went up. My SEO needs to be improved. Originality. Don't know if it'll let me test the originality. No, I need to upgrade for that, and so does the tone of voice. But this gives me a good start. So to recap on that, that's just basically you already have some content, and can write alt tags for images. I don't think this one does if you do the paid, but Ahrefs does. I did not include that in here, but Ahrefs, alt tag. I was just looking at it earlier. AI tool for alt text. I was just on it. There we go. So I want to put so I just put something in the chat. Somebody asked about alt text, and this is something that's pretty cool to use. Free AI image alt text generator, because alt text is important, for websites, for accessibility, and just for accessibility, and also helps with SEO because not screen readers. Search engines cannot read images. They need something to look at when it comes to text. So you can do, what did I do earlier? Let's do casual, generate alt text. And a cool cat with a red nose and stylish glasses chilling out on the floor. So, and yeah, that's something you can play with that can help with alt text. I don't have that link in there, so just as an FYI, it's not in there. It's not in the slides or anything. And then would you use Content Shake to create the blog and then run it through SEO Writing Assistant? So if you have the paid account, I think Content Shake and SEO Writing Assistant will work collaboratively. If for the free, it's kind of separated. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah. Where did you find the alt text? So the alt text, so it's this website, this Ahrefs. And then I just grabbed an image that I had on my computer. And then how I want it. So it was casual. Now let's do formal. A cat with a red nose and glasses is peacefully resting on the ground, exuding a sense of calm and sophistication. So there's that. But it would be really great to have a tool that transforms the text, long technical orders. The text content to video, short films, I think there are some tools like that, but they cost a little bit. Canva can do it to some degree, and I've been trying to focus on things that are not quite so costly, has been what my focus was on this presentation. Canva can do it to some degree. I don't know how well it does, though. Yes. I'm sorry, I thought I heard somebody. Okay. I'd have to look at the vendor names. I know Canva, which I will be talking about, does it to some degree, but I don't know how well and if that meets what your needs are though. Let's see. Let me get out of here. So like stop it. On slide. Okay. All right. So some SEMrush features there. And there's also SEMrush apps. So SEMrush does have an apps, and I can pull that up here. So you can use free apps. Just check that out. And you can do a website checker. And let's see. Oh, I need to be in a different account. But anyways, I'm not going to be able to get into it right now. But basically you can run a website checker and it will produce results similar to this. So again, if you're familiar with other platforms like Google Analytics and such, it's a lot, and this kind of gives it in a little bit easier to parse through format. Content Shake was one of the resources available on SEMrush, Content Shake AI, if I remember correctly. So I'm not going to be able to show this right now on the ones I did earlier because it was in a different account, which is one of the reasons why I did pre-recordings. But anyways, but that is available for free on the app with SEMrush. So again, SEMrush has a lot of great resources, even if you're just using the free version right now. So definitely check that out. Okay, so ChatGPT was ones that it's gotten the most attention in the past year or so. ChatGPT stands for Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Now, remember we were talking about machine learning and how it's pre-trained, meaning it's trained by machine learning and data sets. And it depending, like somebody also mentioned, like if you use the paid version, you'll have more current content. Like I've done searches for ChatGPT on something related to AWS, and it flat out tells me it doesn't know that it exists. But it also tells me it's up to date as of 2021 or something like that. So if I need more accurate and current information, I can't use ChatGPT. It's not going to do it, or I can upgrade, which I haven't felt the need to upgrade yet. It's a large language model that digests huge quantities of text data and infer a relationship between words within the text. So again, that's done through machine learning in the back end. It takes time and resources to train that. And I'm going to show how I use ChatGPT. Well, in the essence of time, is there anybody who's not used ChatGPT? Because I'd rather get through some of the ones that's probably not quite as known. And you guys have access to the videos. Okay, we'll go ahead and go through this. Let's see. And now we are in ChatGPT. So we are using the free version of ChatGPT. There's an upgrade. I don't personally have the upgrade. I don't use it. That may change, but it's not come to that yet. So and you can see, so let's just kind of get familiar with ChatGPT if you're not familiar with it yet. On the left-hand side, you will see that there is all my history. So this is nice. So what I've used, if I can go back here, if I'm looking up something I looked up in the previous Microsoft Teams collaboration, it looks like, or what is Microsoft Teams? And this is a good example of how I use ChatGPT. Like I know what Microsoft Teams is, but if I'm trying to put it in a document, because if I believe what I used this for was when I was writing content for teaching content, and I needed to put in the slides and in the curriculum, what is Microsoft Teams? I know what Microsoft Teams is, and I know how I describe it, but it's probably not the most technical description for it. So, and we'll talk about the difference between ChatGPT and Google here in just a second. But ChatGPT can be a really great resource to give you a succinct, short, this is what I want to know without me having to search for it, which is where we kind of go into Google land. But anyway, so there's a history of it. And the way I use Chat GPT, like I just showed you, like I know what Microsoft Teams is, but I need like a better definition than what I can provide on my own. Is like, so one of the ways that I use this for business purposes is I use like the Microsoft Teams, like that's for one of my businesses. I do things like that. But say I was doing something more related to blog writing. So we've been talking about education. How can Snapchat be used in the classroom? So this is one of the things that I've been talking about, that I do presentations about Snapchat being used in the classroom. So I'm just asking this question and see what it comes up. And this is giving me things that I never really thought about before. So usually when I talk about Snapchat in the classroom, I'm talking about JavaScript, computer science, some digital art, analytics. Those are the things about how you can incorporate it in the classroom. And just, this is like an idea generator. So I know from like my use cases and how my experiences and, personal experiences, how Snapchat can be used in the classroom, perspective of a user and as an educator and a learner. So you just asking like a simple question, like, we see the results from that, and there's some really good things in here that I could use to, for my presentations. So that's one thing. Let's see if I was going to ask the same question in Google. Okay. And it gives me a little blog from something. Let's see. Sick ways. So it gives me other ways of how Snapchat is being used in the classroom. But it requires me, I know this sounds lazy, but it requires me to go in and look, because these are other people's blogs and opinions and etc., which is not bad. But I need something that's more succinct. Like I said, it's like, it's short, it's sweet, it summarizes it, and I can take this and apply this to my own presentations and own use cases. So, okay, that's one use case. And let's go ahead and start a new one. And this is another way, right? A blog about how Snapchat uses digital art. Okay. And you can see it's writing a really great, things. And it's, I usually don't talk about Bitmojis and stickers. But that's, it's a good indicator to me. It's like, that's a good reminder to me, rather that it's like, hey, I can talk about that. That might be another area that I've kind of forgotten about, and because I usually just focus on lenses and filters and the power of AR, creativity and community. So I capture some of this usually in my talks, but this gives me some additional areas that I hadn't thought about or talked about before, which can be, again, just makes me better at what it is that I'm doing. So, this case in my role as an educator, as a marketer, marketing my educator business, and also help prepare for presentations and all of those things. So you just want to stop that there. Let's see. Uh, you can do programming stuff like SQL. I've not done it. Oh no, I've done with Java. I've done it with some Java. That's about it. I've not done SQL. Let's see. Uh, so the difference between ChatGPT and Google, as we kind of saw in that video, is ChatGPT was created to hold a conversation with the end user, and it has the ability to search the internet and it uses that information of training data to generate a response, which does leave room for error. Search engine, a lot of the times what you're going to see is based off whoever's got the best SEO score. And then it's kind of like what I was saying earlier about my son, complaining about having to go through all the Google sites to having to read stuff. And I'm complaining about the same thing. But in my opinion, ChatGPT gives me an unbiased view of the answers to what I'm looking for in an idea generation, as opposed to trying to parse through somebody else's blog and whatever it is that they're talking about at that time. So that is how ChatGPT can be used for ideas, for blogs. And again, just like with the SEMrush one, it's not the final product. You still need to customize it, but it can be a really great idea generator. Uh, Anybody have any thoughts or comments on that one? On ChatGPT? Uh, Acceptance.
I
I
can
don't
make
use
a comment.
Go ahead, Mary.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So I actually been using ChatGPT to summarize like contracts. So basically when I'm doing contract searching, I ask ChatGPT, I say, hey, summarize the following, and then I'll paste the contract, and it literally gives you a summary of
Mhm.
maybe like a 30 page to shorten it out. And I also utilize it when I want to write some emails and things like that. It just really puts everything in a nice flow. It's really,
Mhm.
really good for that.
Yes, yes, I agree. I use it. One of the things I'm gonna do as a subject matter expert, writing content, like teaching content. And if I'm got like writer's block and I need to come up with some sort of question, and kind of like what you said, just copy and paste the content. It's like, give me a question from this. Write a question for me. And I can even specify what kind of bloom level. If you're in education, it's just like a level of learning. I can specify the target, high school, junior high, all of those things. It is really great. It's awesome. Um, uh, Thank you, Mary. Let's see. So we have Wasdolia. So Wasdolia it's a neat tool that's only been around for less than a year, and I just discovered it last week. And so I teach, as I kind of said a couple of times already. But let's go to, I'll show you how it works, and then we'll kind of move on. We're not going to watch the video. But does anybody, while I'm getting this set up, is anybody in education, this, training, maybe not traditional education, but maybe you're a trainer or something like that? Let's see. It's the thing now. Uh, kind of, okay. No, okay. So I'm going to go in here and just going to go to a documentation page about Athena, which is an AWS service. Uh, so Wisdolia is one of the things, and this is how I tell my learners to use it as, is a flashcard generator. So I'm in a documentation page, which is a resource that you can learn about Athena. So I open up the Chrome extension for Wisdolia, and looks it's showing. That's good. And it'll take the page. You can use it off YouTube videos, web pages, or PDF documents. And you can generate questions. Okay. Yeah. And it'll generate a question. So these are quiz questions that it can help you if you're an educator, if you're an instructor. It can kind of give you some things to write if you're writing guided notes or closed notes or anything in preparation for a class. And it can also be a good tool for your learners to quiz themselves if they're learning and studying for preparation. So, it's grabbing as a flashcard, it's grabbing the question, what is Amazon Athena and how does it work? And they could do whatever and select answer. Okay. And it'll give feedback, what I got wrong. I put gibberish, that's what I got wrong. Um, Yes. And then it'll give more info, and then it'll give an AI answer. So this is a really great tool. Like they can quiz themselves, the learners can quiz themselves. And if you're an educator, it can help you prepare content. You know, it'll help you prepare content based off whatever the document is. So no, I don't want to try it by myself. But anyways, you get the idea. We're not going to play the video for that though. But it is a really great tool. Does anybody have any questions on this? So basically, just as a recap on that, it's, let me pull this one. You can generate smart flashcards in seconds, and it works on PDFs, articles, and YouTube. Always edit content to sound more like me. Yes. You want it to be organic. You want it to sound like you. Yes. Exactly what Philip said. Okay. And that's about the gist of Wisdolia. It's a really great tool if you're an educator or if you're a learner. And I like this webpage. I grabbed them for this webpage. I really love their mentality about active learning is better than passive learning. Consistency is more important than education. Understanding is better than memorizing. So have fun and be curious. So it's yes. As an educator, I love this. Research Rabbit. Does anybody do anything when it comes to research? Whether just whatever field or industry that you're in. So some are asking if this is being recorded. It is. I'm not quite sure how it works when it comes to sharing. Okay, so some of you guys are in research. Okay. So this is Research Rabbit, and it's another cool tool. And I'm just going to kind of, let's see if I can go just do it instead of watching the video. The little monsters from Canva. All right. So this is Research Rabbit. And so what we have here on the left-hand side, I have some collections I already made. One's like Snapchat in the classroom, and it's kind of like Spotify for research. It gives you do a research for stuff, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And it gives you that collection, and it just stores it for you. So let's go ahead and start with a new collection. Let's do about AI for accessibility. Okay. And we select add papers. Let's see, and you can do keywords. That's what I've been doing. But if you have more specific information, you can do that. How AI is helping people with disabilities. I think that's called disabilities, right? So you can, I was going to go ahead and grab a couple, just to get it in there. And then I'm going to close that out. And then you can see the paper, you can see there's a PDF, or if you can go to the link, and some of it just depending on what is publicly accessible or what is not. It would just, it would require you to have more research, obviously, on what is available. But it's a really great resource to find it, as opposed to Google search. And I think we can all agree with sometimes when Google search, what it takes you to is to like somebody's blog, and what you want is like the original resource, and then you have to read it, you have to vet it, you have to do all of those steps. Time is money, and money is time. So this gives you specific papers, then you would just have to go through, do you have access to it, or do you got to pay for it? Or some research papers are, it's not necessarily open to the public. Okay. All right. So, and it keeps it. So if I got AWS security, because I do talks about AWS security, AI, Snapchat in the classroom, guided notes, and I can add papers to it and I can just pull up on it. And then it's just a really great research tool if I'm preparing, for whatever it is that I'm working on, presentations or articles or whatever. Uh, so that is Research Rabbit. Trying to be conscientious of time. Does anybody have any questions on Research Rabbit? That's pretty much the gist of it. You can see connections and you can see how things like that, but that's the gist of it. Ah. Ah. All right. So it's a literature mapping tool. It can optimize your time searching, and start planning. And it's a Spotify for papers. I'm not sharing the tab. There we go. It's a Spotify for papers. Okay. Can I spell Lozolia? Can you spell Lozolia? I don't know what that means. Is that the question that you ask? Otter. Otter is an AI tool that can be used to record meetings. So what I start using Otter for is for accessibility reasons. So I was, when I worked in higher ed and I went to meetings and I prefer meetings to be virtual because I can use the closed captions. So whenever the meetings had to be in person, I started using Otter and as an app on my phone, and I would read it. It would transcribe the meeting for me, and I can just read it on my phone. And so it helped me stay connected to the meeting. I remember whenever I went to these meetings and I'm like, I just kind of let them know. It's like I'm using an accessibility tool. So if I'm looking at my phone, I'm not just scrolling, I'm using it so I can stay, connect with the meeting. But there, again, for the sake of time, instead of watching the video, I'm just going to kind of go into it. And there is, so you can use it to make meetings better with automatic notes. So nobody wants to be the person who's stuck taking notes. um, Nobody just wants to be that person. I know I definitely never want to be that person. And so what it'll do is it'll capture everything for you. And I've used it accidentally. I didn't realize that I did. But if you're in a virtual meeting or if you're in person, it'll capture it'll capture everything. And then everybody who was invited on that meeting will get a transcript automatically. And it's a really cool tool that will help integrate, communication. And you never know if you're in a marketing meeting or something, it's an idea generation, brainstorming meeting. You never know what's going to be said or spoken that's going to have value, but, may not realize it at the time. So, if you're doing anything with like that, business and sales, for education purposes. I use Loom personally, but there's also it can help with that. And for media, just creating content that allows you to focus on what makes you and your business unique, as opposed to notes and transcripts and all of those things. Uh, we'll do that and summarize. Okay. I'm not familiar with Phantom, but thank you. Uh, let's see. So Otter AI develops speech to text transcription application using AI and machine learning. And it also, like I said, shows captions for live speakers and generates written transcriptions of speech. So Kittle is a fun little AI tool. And I'm going to actually play the video because it's only 3 minutes long on this one. Hi. Hello, and this is Kittle. So Kittle has some really cool AI tools as well. Specific, and there it's a image generator, design, graphic design. That's the word I'm thinking of. But it also has an AI feature, which is what we're going to focus on in this video. So we're going to create with Kittle AI. And it comes up with some kind of cool things. That one, I'll admit, I'm not the biggest fan on, so I'm just going to get rid of that and just kind of start new. All right. So if you're in Kittle, and we're going to go to the image generator. Now, some of these are really cool, and because it's something that I never would have thought of, and some of it, it's not quite what I had envisioned. Like that Bengals one, I was thinking Cincinnati Bengals, but because of licensing, that's probably as close as they're going to get to what I wanted. So that's fine. But let's go ahead and think of something. So I've been playing with some characters called Monster Bites as a way just for learning. Okay, it's kind of a character for books and stuff, but I'm not going to focus on that right now. But just the idea of Monster Bites. So put in the words Monster Bites, and I'm still using the free version, so you can see how many credits that I have. And let's go ahead and see what this comes up with. I'm going to pause this video while it's thinking. Okay, so Monster Bites. Okay, that is something. It's a little bit scarier than I kind of wanted it to be. Cute and funny. Let's see what that comes up with. But you can see how this works. I mean, it's going to come up with things. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not what I was kind of thinking. That's more what I was thinking. But so this is something more along the lines of what I was thinking. So I want to stop. But you can see how you can play with it, and I want to stop that there. But it's just a way if you have an idea and it can create something. All of them scrambled text though. Yeah, I think so. I mean, you can just put like random words in there, and it just kind of what you want. But that's Kittle. And some of it's really cool, and some's like, nah, not what I'm looking for. And then again, AI is not going to be the end all and be all for everything. It's a good starting point, but you got to still put some legwork in it. And let's see. So TikTok Effect House. Who's on TikTok? Anybody on TikTok? Yeah. Okay. So does anybody use filters like with Snapchat, or does anybody create filters like, the AR filters you see on Snapchat or TikTok? Does anybody do that? Uh, so TikTok is so I've been doing it mainly on Snapchat for the past 3 years or so. But TikTok, in my opinion, is a little bit easier to learn. So that's why I'm kind of focusing on this one. And there's some AI tools that you can use as well. So this one is going to be video based, and it's about 7 minutes long. I'm going to kind of get to the gist of it. It's not going to cover how to do AR or the filters, but just kind of so you can see the AI, the text to AI tool that it has. Okay, so what we have, monster, expand that. So similar to what it can do. So what we have here, just for the focus of the AI, we have something called an asset studio. And basically what this asset studio will do, it will just integrate something based off a text that you put in here. So I'm not quite sure how they get cheeseburger into that image, but that's fine. But let's go ahead and let's go with monsters because it's Halloween. So that's a little scary. That monster's cute. And basically what this is doing, as you can tell, it's pixelated art. It's pixel art. And okay, that's a little bit, let's just go with that one. So you can select one and you can import it. And you can see that it's on the background, you can see it's imported, and Monsters Cute is the name of it. You can select all of them if you want, but just for the sake of time and convenience, I'm only doing one. So, but that's not the only thing we're going to do. There's a 2D sticker, and you can see it's a pixel sticker. Now we're also going to do face mask. And you can see a tiger, and that creates a face mask. So let's go ahead and do monster. Let's see what this comes up with. Okay. So I'm going to stop it there. Just the point of that was just to show that you guys can. There's more steps to make it actual a filter out of it, but the text to image, like you type in what you're looking for, and it'll create something for you. So typically, previously, what this had to do something like this, you need a little bit of 3D modeling. You needed, just a little bit more stuff to it. Now what with tools like this, it's a little. That's not what I want. With tools like this, you can just type in what you're wanting, and let me see if I get to the end, and then you can. I went with a dog. The monsters weren't working for me, so I went with a dog. Me being super picky on what it was coming up with in the results, it's really easy to do. You just kind of pick something that's text to image. You just type in what you're looking for, and it will produce something. May not always produce what you want, but it'll produce something. You can always customize it. So, and then what's not covered in this video is how to publish it. It's all free. But this like whenever I first started exploring into AR filters, for Snapchat, having something that was easy to do was what gave me confidence to expand more. So that's why I want to just kind of throw that in there. And it's not that hard. I'm happy to do workshops on that, on how to make filters for Snapchat and TikTok if anybody's interested on that. So basically, TikTok effects is how you can create filters on the TikTok platform. It's completely free. It's a fun way to get creative, and it also provides analytical feedback on how the filters were used. So that's always nice to have as well. So Grammarly, we're about 10 minutes left. So Grammarly is another type of tool that it'll do like writing, like kind of like what we saw ChatGPT and SEMrush. It'll do something similar to that. It's just in its own little platform. It's got its own little training. It's got its own little, nuances that, all of these platforms have. Canva is another tool. I think a lot of you guys use Canva. So it's basically you can, let's see, this is a 3-minute. Okay, so we are now going to be talking, see what it does. Then magic morph. This does take. So with Canva, as if you use Canva, you probably have realized like sometimes it's not easy to find the image that you're wanting. So, but what you can do with some of these magic tools in there, you can just state what it is that you're looking for and go from there. Can you create markups for products with this? I'm not sure. I've not tried that. Maybe. I don't know. So that's one of the features with Canva. I'm just kind of rushing through it for the sake of time. And let's see. So transcribe, I'm not going to necessarily get into this because we need some time to close, but transcribe is a resource within AWS. Tanya, did you have a question? Oh, I thought I heard somebody. Okay. Is it mock-ups or markups? Mock-ups, yes. I'm not quite sure what he meant with markups. Let's see. So transcribe is a resource that it can basically, for anybody, I saw some people work with medical field. So, you might be more familiar with transcription, and it can transcribe what you're saying into an SRT file or whatever it is that you may need it to be in. Let's see. It's a speech recognition tool. Then there's also label detection. Does anybody, so realtors, I saw that there was a realtor there. Is there anything that you made, anybody can think of anything they do with label detection or video analysis to kind of know what's there, and just to, you can kind of see on the sides, like some use cases, label detection, looking at image properties, facial analysis, face comparison, we've seen on TV and movies, celebrity recognition, text and images, PPE detection. It can also look at analysis of videos and video events. So this is within AWS. AWS is cloud, it's a cloud service provider. The learning curve, there's a bit of a learning curve if you've not used it before. I'm not going to lie. The other applications that we've been talking about, it's meant to be for like the end user, like, the small business owner. AWS stuff is usually, you need a little bit more computer skills. It's not, it's anybody can learn it, but just as an FYI. Okay. All right. And we're not going to watch the video on that. Loom is the resource that I use. That's how I made these videos. And what I really like about Loom, which I'm not going to get into on the watch the video, but it automatically does the transcription for you. So just like Otter AI, it's another tool that you can use to kind of offset the mundane task of writing transcription, right? I remember when I worked in higher ed, I had there was a meeting of our advisory board, and I had a student worker type up the transcription or the meeting notes because I was supposed to take them, and I'm a horrible note taker. This tool would have been nice because I didn't want to do it. But anyways, all right. So here's some ways that how I use these products. As you can see there, the additional ways that website can be used. Now this is cool. Website generator. This is off something called 10. I just came across this one. It's called 10web.io. It's a AI website builder. So talking about the whole monster bytes thing, I put something in. I forgot exactly what I put in there. And it made me like it enough to upgrade. I haven't really dived too much into it beyond that. But I just put in like a little bit of what I wanted, what I'm looking for, the purpose of the website, and it built that. Like nothing from me other than what I wrote in. Excuse me. But this was neat. Not gonna lie, this was neat. I was impressed with this. Has anybody heard of the 10 website builder? Yeah. yeah. I was like, when I saw what they built, and I'm like, awesome. Where's the upgrade button? Yeah. Yes. There's a lot of cool stuff. If anybody needs, Tableau has some great resources for data analytics. Buffer is a great resources. Sorry, for social media management. Losing my voice now. It wasn't too much. It's about the cost for hosting. If you pay for hosting for a year, yeah, I'm out. All right. You can start with free, but then you can just check it out. But it was comparable to hosting. Usually hosting is around $300 or $400, depending on what you're on. And it was comparable. It's actually probably cheaper, I think. It wasn't a surprise. Let me just put it that way. So, okay. SEO in the AI world. So there is this really cool, if you're interested in SEO, this would be a really cool thing to check out. Exposure Ninja is a podcast that I listen to, and I really like it. And workshops and training. If you'd like to have more training or a workshop for you and your team, let me know. I can do it virtually or in person. And that's my email, and that is my cell phone number. You're more than welcome to text.